Hi, kitties.
They each is an individual, so they each have their own way of doing things and their own way of reacting after something's done. Fair look? Good boy. What I do, I'm a veterinary behaviorist, and probably the easiest way to kind of align that is kind of a combination of a human psychiatrist and human psychologist. Then I also look at the behaviors itself, and if it's behavior consistent with separation anxiety, if it's a behavior consistent with fear or aggression, what is it that the dog is doing, and then how can I work towards changing that and improving the bond between the owner and the pet.
Based on a dog's personality, and I know you like to do positive conditioning with dogs, and positive affirmations with them to get them to do stuff rather than,
Positive
no,
reinforcement. Well,
how do you use their personality to get them to do things?
well, first off, no doesn't tell a dog what you'd like it to do instead.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Okay? Even if the dog is barking and you say no bark, well, it still doesn't tell him what it should do instead, and it doesn't necessarily appreciate no barking means don't bark. We make the assumption that it knows what that means.
Yeah, I've made that assumption a million times. What do you what do you do
But if I
instead?
don't want a dog to bark, then I'll have the dog look at me. That goes back to the look cue that I was doing before.
So, what do you think is the most misunderstood thing about dogs and how they think and feel and behave?
Most dogs that are aggressive related to fear, anxiety, or there might be a medical component to what's going on. I think that the intent of the dog, a lot of times people get that wrong, and I think that people don't realize how strong anxiety can be and how it affects dogs' behavior. So a dog that's destructive within the house might be destructive because it's anxious, and they just think it's being destructive to get back at them for being gone. Or they think the dog is urinating on the carpet to get back at them for being gone when it urinates related to anxiety. Because the dog doesn't know that it costs $100 to take the carpet out and clean it, or it takes a lot of effort to clean the carpet. And that's the other thing, that's the other big myth, is people assume that if the dog's afraid, it's going to look timid and crouching. Whereas I see plenty of dogs that are afraid, their hair is standing up, the ears are forward, they're lunging, they're barking, and it's because they're preemptively defending themselves from what they're afraid of.
So their intent is not to necessarily be aggressive. Their intent is to try to protect themselves from
Yes.
a perceived threat.
Yes.
We always want everyone to give us the benefit of the doubt when it comes to intention.
Yes.
And I've never thought about that before, that with dogs, you have to also try to give them the benefit of the doubt that their intention comes into play, and it's not always something bad if they're misbehaving.
Exactly, and that ends up being critical, because if you think that the dog is growling at you because it's trying to be dominant, then you're going to get your knickers in a twist, and you're going to be more confrontational about it, and you're not going to be softer. We have dogs because they're an extension of our family, as you just said, and so we want them to be like our children, more or less, and we care for them as if they're our children. And you want them to be as happy as you would want your child to be happy.
Yes.
And so, you want to do the best you can within reason to make them happy and to be a good steward of their care and their whole being. I feel I can help people understand their pets better, and if they understand their pets better and if they understand why things happen, then we can achieve a reasonable solution, or have a reasonable set of expectations.